Let's analyze what the stock market did today, Monday, February 14, 2022. This is a daily chart of the S&P 500. Based on today's session, I cannot really conclude anything. It had a chance to move higher. It found resistance around 44.25, dropped. Also had a chance to drop much lower, but it bounced, finishing or closing way above the lows. So definitely wants to pause. Tomorrow will be a day where you can see more price confirmation. Either wants to bounce from here or it wants to drop again. Big resistance up here. The first big resistance, major resistance, 44.50. And you got all these moving averages just sloping down. So getting above this area, that'll be very interesting. I want to see how it's going to be able to do that. That's 50 points. Lots of resistance up there. If tomorrow we gap open higher, I will not be buying as we will be going up against all these resistance levels. Ideally for me, I would like it to drop even more. And as I mentioned before, the bigger the drop, the bigger the bounce, the easier to spot. So it's only been down 3 days in a row, but I would like to see something like here. Probably not exactly the same magnitude, but another down day will be very helpful so we can play the bounce. But for now, I'll just watch it and we'll see what happens tomorrow. So another thing that I want to mention why I'm looking for a better setup is because it is also news driven. You just never know. Good news, bad news, and it's definitely moving the market. And it's not really if it's good news or bad news, it's a reaction that is very unpredictable. Take a look at the Nasdaq 100, similar to the S&P 500. It's taking a break. Had a chance to move higher, didn't. Had a chance to move lower, and it didn't. And it closed right in the middle of today's range. Big overhead resistance. It would be interesting to see how it's going to get above this resistance area between, so this is roughly between 14,500 and 14,700. That's 200 points. Lots of resistance levels, pivot points, and these moving averages pointing down. For tomorrow, one level that I'll be watching closely will be the 14,000 level. This 14,400 proved to be an important pivot point. We've seen it before. That's where it found resistance, and from there it dropped. And like I said, it bounced back, closing around the middle of today's range. If we open higher tomorrow, I will not consider buying. If this was the bottom, I will miss this bounce and I will wait for the next setup. Dow Jones Industrial Average, this one had a big drop before bouncing back. It is way below the high from 3 days ago. So for this one, the magnitude of this drop is bigger than the other indices. It is still below all these moving averages. So the path of least resistance is south. Or watch it tomorrow and see where it wants to go from here. Quick bounce to those moving averages and reevaluate around that area, or does it really want to drop much lower and test some of these levels down here? Let's find out. Philadelphia Semiconductor Index, this one tried to bounce, couldn't get above the 200-day moving average, dropped, bounced back, and similar behavior, similar patterns to the other indices. This one has been all over the place, very difficult to trade or trust. Path of least resistance is south. We'll play session by session and see if this one can quickly bounce and push above these moving averages. I'll take a look at the Russell 2000 small caps IWM ETF. This one just refuses to go down. Consolidating very tightly between 200 and 203 above these moving averages of 10 and the 20 up and down those moving averages. We'll see where it wants to go. If this one loses today's, drops below today's low, I think it can quickly drop much lower, picking up momentum. If, however, can push above this level, say 203, 204, I think this one will have a good chance to test the recent high or the 50-day moving average, which is this purple line here. Split session by session. Conclusion, this one looks stronger than the other indices, which has changed before. It was like the weakest of all the indices, one thing that I noticed. So we'll play a session by session. Is this one going to lead higher, or is it going to join the other indices and just continue lower? Thanks for stopping by, and good luck trading tomorrow.